feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright, echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? What is going on with my microphone? Microphone's not working. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you guys can hear me. What is. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on, but my microphone is not lighting up. It's just there. But that's okay. We can deal with it. Good to see you. We have a lot to go through locally. So while everyone concentrates on all the big cases and that, I like to tell you what's going on in your own area. I like to tell you what is happening, maybe where you live. So many people focus on all like the big news items of the day, but if we don't talk about the small stories that are coming out of places, how can we actually do what a lot of us want to do and help in true crime? How can we keep an eye out for things if we don't know about it? So, we're going to talk about this and then we're going to see more about it. She's quite young, disappeared in the middle of the night. Her name is Kaylee Anne Marie Pounds. Last seen on Monday, and she is from Zachary, Louisiana. Apparently, it wasn't discovered missing until 7 a.m. in the morning. So, sometime overnight, she left her residence, and they're not sure how she got away from the like where she lived. And they're saying that it's concerning. She is quite young, believed to be traveling on foot in an unknown direction. And they're saying that anyone who sees her should contact the authorities. The number on your screen, you'll see it in a moment. This number at the bottom of the screen, the Zachary PD, or call 911. Kailey Anne Marie Pound, 17 years old, white female, 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighs roughly 130 pounds, has blue eyes and brown hair. She lives on Munson Road in Zachary, Louisiana. And yeah, she's been missing since the morning of the 17th. She was last seen on Monday, but was officially reported missing the next day in the morning. So, missing young people, never like to see that, especially after like the Madison Fields case that we had like for the last few weeks. Madison Fields ended up being found in freaking Florida in a hotel room. So anytime a young person disappears out of their home, I'm always worried. I'm always worried. They're calling it a level 2 endangered slash missing child advisory. I don't know what a level 2 alert means. I've never heard that wording before, but I'm just going to try see if we can find anything else about it. Okay, there's some more photos of her. So the Aware Foundation, they do great work. Here's some other photos of her that are a little bit different. So maybe more what she looks like now. Still missing as of right now. This post was put up 30 minutes ago, and they are saying that she is still endangered and missing. Uh, I don't know if we have anyone that lives near Zachary, Louisiana. I'm not even sure where Zachary, Louisiana is. Where is it? Zachary, Louisiana. They're calling it a statewide alert too. I just saw that come up as statewide missing child alert. Let's have a look. Where is Zachary, Louisiana? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I know where it is. It's just north of Baton Rouge. So if you know where Baton Rouge is, it's just north of there. It's a suburb of the area. Here I can show you on the map. So there's Baton Rouge. Here's Zachary. This is the area. Interesting lines for the suburb. Look how weird they are. It's not very straight, but that's the area that she's missing from. And there's the main city, Baton Rouge. You guys know about this area. Baton Rouge has like a really, really bad history with people going missing. It has, well, it did at one point have a very high murder count. I don't know if it's as bad as it is now. Like it was really bad in the 90s and 2000s. I don't know if it's still as high, but it's had a lot of famous cases come from this area. So Zachary, what road was she missing from again? Munson Road, right? Can we see that anywhere? It's not it's not jumping out at me. Munson Road. Yeah, it's not something that I can see off like this little overview. Nelson, Roberts, Bennett. Okay. Hmm. I don't see it. Oh, I thought it would have been in this main part of town somewhere. Let's have a look up here. Maple Road. It's a M, but not the one we want. Let's go over here. Uh, I don't know. It's just apparently not really a it's not a real street. I've got no idea. Let's go up to the edge of town. Oh, there. There it is. So she was on this Munson Drive. Here we go. Found it. So I don't know what number, you know, that she's missing from, but there are some homes up on this road. So it goes all the way through town by the looks of it. Yeah, it goes all the way to the end here. So where does it stop? Okay, down here. All right. So where could she get to? Well, if she walked south, she would get to the east-west corridor, which is Port Hudson Pride Road. And from there, you can get anywhere, but it's pretty far out. Like the road that she's missing from, it's pretty far out of sort of like downtown. It's not you wouldn't think that would be an easy place to get from early in the morning as a child who has no car or something like that. It tells me that did someone come and pick her up because there's nothing there. If you don't have a car, you can't walk forever. I wonder if she met up with someone. I hope that's not what happened. Because otherwise you'd be walking miles, miles. You'd be walking a long distance, even to get down here, like into the main part of town where all the shops are. It's a bit of a distance. Like you're talking like a couple of miles. Um, I don't know what to tell you. If you live in Baton Rouge or you live in Zachary and you see that girl anywhere, call it in. Her parents or guardians are probably very worried about her. She's very young, 17. I mean, probably thinks she's an adult because she's 17, but still, still a young kid. Where did she live? On Munson Drive, where we just showed it on the map. We can go back there. It's up here, right? Right here. She lived on this street. I don't know what number. They didn't give out the number, but there's like a variety of properties on this road. Like you guys can see, there's a bunch of homes. So there's one there, there's one there, there's one there, there's a whole heap. There's a bunch here. So somewhere on this road is where she was last seen. and from that point, disappeared. So, not a great place to disappear from, and, then you get the big city, Baton Rouge, and, not a safe place for a young girl to be missing from. That is the last place that she's seen. Yeah, last place. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. Uh, I know this is Munson Road. Wait, that's Munson Drive. There is no Munson Road. Hold on. Is there 2 streets with the same name? Where's our street that we want? It's up here. Munson Drive. Is there another? Hold on. Yeah, that's interesting. When I searched it just then, it keeps referring me back to that road, that there is no road called Munson Road, that there is only a street called Munson Drive in the town of Zachary. See, I searched it and I said road, not drive, and then it pinned me back here saying this is the only one. Is there a street that comes off it maybe? What's that? Oh, it's a driveway. I don't know what to tell you except for it's saying that there is no, so I don't know if someone has made a mistake on the poster. She was last seen at her home on Munson Road in Zachary, Louisiana. Munson, there can't be. Hold on. Let me search it again. Mm, so Googling around, there is no road. There's only drive. So I think someone has misspoken. Like even when I search real estate listings for that area and I say, wait, Munson Road, wait, there is. Hold on. Where is it then? Hold on. Where is this? Where is this? 8,400. It keeps taking me back to the same place. What the hell? All right, let me go to Zillow. Where's the map for it? Okay. Let's see. 8,000. I don't know what's going on. But this house was for sale and it was listed as road, but it's on Munson Drive. I don't know what to tell you except for maybe people call it road when it's really drive. I don't know. But apparently that particular home was for sale at one point. And like so when I Google that road, it gives me some listings for drive, some listings for road. Unless it's down in town somewhere. Let's have a look. Roberts, Marshall, Hancock, Main Street. I don't know what to tell you guys. I really don't. That's really weird. Why would they deliberately mispronounce the road? Yeah, I don't see another road with the name. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure. Maybe someone who's a local can tell us, but Kim said maybe Google misnamed it. Could maybe. Maybe it's actually Munson Road, not Drive. I'm not sure. But she's missing from that area. That's all we can tell you. So there you go. There's the little pin. And yeah, the closest city is Baton Rouge. Lafayette's all the way over here. So not 17, missing a couple of days now. Let me check the comments. Let's see if we can find anything else about it. Kelly Ann Marie Pounds. Got to be something about her. Hey. Let's go here. Kailey Pounds. Mm, I don't know if that's her. Kaylee Ann Marie. That's an older woman. That doesn't look like her either. So it's the person who reported her missing was her mother, and they're saying that they haven't heard from their 17-year-old daughter Kaylee since March 16. So it's a Monday. Um, I'm just trying to see if there's any like updates, whether family have come out or if people that know her might have said something. No. No one's saying that she's been found. Our streak has been broken, unfortunately. But they're saying here that they are searching for, I don't know, just they're searching for her. So they're saying Louisiana State Police are asking for the public for help in locating a missing 17-year-old from Zachary. And they're saying, yeah, she was last seen at her home on Munson Road in Zachary and was reported missing around 7 a.m. The authorities do not know what she was wearing when she went missing, and they believe she may be traveling on foot in an unknown direction. I don't think she could be on foot forever because people would have been able to come across her, traffic would have seen her, all those type of things. So I I am reluctant to agree that she would be on foot solely for the whole time she's been missing. Mimi said, "I will send photos to my family in Baton Rouge. Please do. If you have, yeah, if you have any family that live in Louisiana, if they live on that side of the river, send it to them and ask them to keep an eye out for Kaylee Ann Marie Pounds. I think that would be a good thing." Kathy said, "A friend or boyfriend is hiding her." Could be. Hey, Amy, how are you, my friend? Baton Rouge is the capital city of Louisiana. There you go. Yes. The reason one of the big crimes that I know from Baton Rouge was back in the 90s. There was two serial killers operating at the same time in Baton Rouge, and they caught one of them, and they're like, "Aha, we've caught the serial killer." They're like, "Look, we did it. We solved the case." They did like a big press thing, paraded in front of the media, and then the guy was in jail, and then women kept showing up dead around the city. And they were like, I think maybe we spoke too soon. And they realized they didn't have just one serial killer, they had two. And then they had to find out who's this other person murdering women and dumping them around in Baton Rouge. So that's one of the stories I know about the area. Amy said, "I have relatives around there. My cousin's youngest kid is about the same age. I can tell them about it. Please do. Please do spread the word about this girl. Be better if we could get her home." I'd hate to find out like in 2 weeks, they'd be like, "Hey, remember that girl, Kaylee Ann Marie Pounds? Yeah. We found her dead in a ditch in Baton Rouge." Like, I don't want to read that story. I'd rather her go home. She's 17. She's got a whole life ahead of her. Let's not turn her into a statistic and get her home to her family. I think that would be a nice ending to this particular story. So many missing young people. It's just crazy. All right. That's all I have. If I get more on that particular story, I will tell you. But right now, that's all I have, unfortunately. Um, what else do I have on my list of things? I have a missing. We could do another missing person. Okay, maybe we do this one. All right, I want to take you out to Massachusetts. Massachusetts. And I think this one is quite interesting. Let me get you this. It is sort of a cold case, a Jane Doe. And every time we have a Jane Doe, there was recovery of human remains found, and there is a police investigation underway. They, Sean Sullivan, he's 41 years old, been charged with murder of a Jane Doe because the remains have not been positively identified. They're not 100% sure who it is. They have an idea. They're saying a Massachusetts man has been arrested after a friend contacted police to say he told them he killed a woman, and investigators found a body right where he said he'd placed her. They said the tipster called the police in New Hampshire on March 10 and said that Sullivan told them he killed a woman named Jill. Sullivan claimed that he shot her and then buried her under the floor in the garage. So this poor woman named Jill, they don't know who she is, and she's just gone missing. They don't know her name either. But this guy is going around telling people that he killed her and buried her under his home. It's a bit creepy. It's a little creepy. So I want to take you. They did a press conference. I don't want to play it all. Um, all right. Yes, I want to play a little bit of it. This is from Middlesex County DA's office, and have a listen.
Tim O'Terry from Tewksbury Police, as well as Massachusetts State Police Sergeant Patrick O'Keefe and Assistant District Attorney Chris Tarrant. We're here today to provide an update in an ongoing investigation. I will say at the onset that this is a very active new investigation, so there are many pieces that you will wonder about that I won't be able to provide. However, on March the 10th, 2026, the Nashua, New Hampshire Police Department received a call with information about a possible homicide. They then had contact with the person who had called them, who explained that he had a friend. His friend's name was Sean Sullivan, Sean with a W, who had told him that he allegedly killed a woman named Jill at his home in or around January of 2025. Sean allegedly further claimed that he had shot her and then buried her under the floor in a garage in the Audrey Avenue, Tingsboro home where he was living. Nashua police took that information and because of the work of the Tewksbury Police Department, they were able to identify that in the missing persons database, there was a woman named Jill Kloppenberg who had been reported missing to the Tewksbury Police Department in February of 2025. The individuals who made that missing persons report said that Ms. Kloppenberg was a friend of theirs, that they had not physically seen her since August of 24, and their last contact via text message had been on November 20th of 2024. Police were able to learn that the last record of any communication from Ms. Kloppenberg's cell phone was on January 14th, 2025. Based on the subsequent investigation, police were able to learn that Ms. Kloppenberg was someone known to Mr. Sullivan, that she had been in his home, and that he had allegedly been with her around the time of her disappearance. On March the 15th, detectives from the Tingsboro Police Department, the Tewksbury Police Department, and the State Police executed a search warrant on that house in Tingsboro and observed in the garage what appeared to be a large patched area that was approximately 5 feet long and 3 feet wide. They used ground penetrating radar to scan the full garage floor, and they confirmed that something was located under that area that had been cut and patched. Working with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the investigators were subsequently able to cut through the floor of the garage and to recover a bag, a plastic bag, containing what has been confirmed by the medical examiner's office as human remains.
I don't know what to tell you. So, what makes this guy go out, find this woman called Jill, somehow kill her, and then decide to bury under the garage, cut through it, and place a body in there? It's very strange, right, guys? If someone is doing this now, I'm concerned that they've done it before. Kelly said, wow, so he really did do it. Apparently, I don't think he was lying to his friend. So she is considered a Jane Doe because right now, they don't know who it might be. I was trying to see if there was like a sketch or something for you before we go back. Ah, sorry, yes, Ping, what are you talking about, you freaking weirdo? Um, here. Originally, it was a Jane Doe. Yeah. Jill Kloppenberg. He's going to be arraigned. So he was arraigned in court today. Jill Kloppenberg. That's her name. Originally a Jane Doe. Here's her photo. So she was a missing Lowell woman. So she was known. She was a missing person who was known. So sometimes you get these and there's missing people and they don't know who they are. But in this particular case, she had been reported missing. Let's see. She was last seen in January of 2025, but was reported missing a month later in February. So yeah, people had been looking for her and she was missed. Why this guy and how she ended up in his garage, we'll talk about that more in a second. And I have some more background on her, so hold on. Let's listen to just a bit more of the DA, and then I actually have some background information on who she is and where she might have come from. So hold on.
Sean Sullivan, who is 40 years old from Tingsboro, has been and will be charged with additional charges, including murder. That murder will be of a Jane Doe, since we do not have a confirmation as to the identification of the human remains found in the garage. He'll also be charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon causing serious bodily injury and improper disposal of human remains. It's our expectation that he'll be arraigned tomorrow on those charges in the Lowell District Court. Meanwhile, the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner is continuing to attempt to determine a cause and manner of death and make a positive identification of the remains. I'm now going to turn it over to Chief Woods to speak a bit about the community of Tingsboro.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to first acknowledge the tragic loss of life in this case. This is a person, a loved one who was reported missing and whose disappearance remained under active investigation for over a year. This is never the outcome we want in public safety. But we take solace in the fact that through the hard work of investigators, a suspect is now in custody, and the facts of the case will be addressed through the justice system. I want to recognize the dedicated work of our law enforcement partners, especially members of the Tewksbury Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police, whose diligent work in this case has brought a piece of closure to the family and loved ones of the victim. I also want to recognize the dedicated work of the Tingsboro police officers and investigators. Most importantly, I want to reassure our community that this incident was not a random act of violence.
By the way, I thought they were talking about January of this year. No, she's been missing since January of 2025. So she's been gone for over a year. That's why when they said before, like, oh, this investigation has been ongoing for over a year, I was like, over a year. But I thought we're still in 2025, even though it is March of 26. But no, she's been missing since January of last year. So her body has been under that garage for over a year. That is, it comes across as freaking. I just wonder if he's done this before. I just don't think he'd one day decide, hey, I'm going to kill this woman and then I'm going to dig under my house and then put her in a black plastic bag and then hide her under like a. I don't think that's just something you wake up and do one morning. She even had an FBI page before before she was found. Yeah, so even the FBI had known about her being missing. She was last seen leaving her residence in Broadway Street, Lowell, Massachusetts, and has not been seen or heard from since. She was living in temporary housing with roommates. She ended up being reported missing a month after she was last seen. She has a tattoo on her lower back, a tribal design, tattoo on the inner groin, two hearts with faces inside each heart. There you go. So they may be, maybe depending on the state of her remains, maybe that's how they may be identified part of her. But yeah, she was a proper missing person. Like they had been looking for her for a while. It's really sad. It's sort of sad that people just, I don't know, it took them a month to even report her missing. There's some photos of her, by the way, in different stages of her life. And you can see she's obviously, I don't know, I don't want to assume, but she's had some challenges in life, I think. And, we always warn on this show about ending up in a ditch or something like that. Sometimes it happens, right? You These people are vulnerable. They don't have a lot in life, and then they think someone's trying to help them, and they become a victim like this. It is a truly sad story. Why Sean Sullivan? Do we have a photo of him? Let's have a look. I don't know why see, killers are always undone by their own words. He bragged to someone about killing her. Why? If he had never told anyone, they probably would never have found her. Literally, they probably would never have found her if he didn't tell. I'm glad he did, but if he didn't tell someone, they may just never have found her. Oh, we have some court footage because he was in arraignment today. So let me take you out to WCVB 5 for that court hearing today.
Standing out.
How could they say it was an accident? It takes time to dig a hole. What kind of accident is that?
Standing outside Lowell District Court, friends of missing woman Jill Kloppenberg hugged in tears.
She didn't deserve that.
No, absolutely not.
She didn't deserve it at all. Nobody does.
Kloppenberg was reported missing in February of 2025. In court today, prosecutors say this man, Sean Sullivan, killed her.
The defendant said that he was with Jill and holding a firearm while falling asleep. At some point, he made a jerking motion, which caused him to pull the trigger, discharging the firearm and shooting Jill in the chest.
The prosecutor says Sullivan left the woman's body in his bedroom for several days before bringing it to the garage of his Tingsboro home.
There, he dug a hole in the floor of the garage and put the victim's body in the hole and sealed it up.
Investigators digging up the remains over the weekend after getting a tip from Sullivan's friend.
This was something that was weighing on him. I can't speculate as to why he decided at this moment, other than it was a weight on his shoulders.
Sullivan's lawyer says this was an accident, not murder.
It would be an involuntary manslaughter.
Jill Kloppenberg's friends say they want justice and accountability.
Just be a man and just do your time. You did a bad thing, and
you try to bury it.
Sean Sullivan pleaded not guilty. He's being held without bail.
What do you think about his story? He was falling asleep with a gun and he made a jerking motion. He is a bit of a jerking motion. And the gun went off and killed her. Sounds like the most absolute bullshit that I've ever heard come out of a criminal's mouth. Oh, yeah. Oh, I was sleeping. And then I had a gun. I had a gun. And it went off. Well, it was a bit of a jerking motion. I don't know about your jerking motion, but I think you're how on there's ways to tell. I'm sure they're going to try figure out whether eh, you know there's problems with these type of there's problems with these type of cases where they're the only one left to tell the story. We're having that same thing go on with a different case in Australia. You guys know the one about a former Jetstar pilot. He's the only one that's here to tell the story, and I worry that something like that might happen here because he's the only one here to tell us what happened that night. So yeah, I wonder if that's what was going on. Yes, that's my first thought too, that whether she was a working girl. I don't know. I mean, I can try and look for it. Let me see if I can find out. Mm, okay, I don't I'm just trying to see if I can find anyone who knows about her. Look, she may not have been. I don't Yeah, I can't find a source that says that's what she did. But it's possible. I mean, it's possible. Kathy said he was holding a gun on her right and fell asleep. Maybe she moved and his gun went off. Why was he holding a gun to her while he was sleeping? Did he think that if this Yeah, that's I don't understand why he had the gun in the first place and why he had to have it pointed at her while he was sleeping. Did he think that she was gonna rob him during the night after they did their rendezvous? Um, I mean, maybe I'd need more information on that. But it said he shot her in the chest. So if he's sleeping like on a couch or a chair, and then he shot her in the chest, she must have been directly opposite him on another piece of furniture to be able to shoot her in the chest and kill her. So I'd want to know more about how that works. Elevated or drunk could be. It's a juicy pile of bull. Yeah, I think so too. It doesn't make any sense to me. Um, Here, investigators say that Kloppenberg and Sullivan were acquainted and that she had visited his home. They said that he will face some other charges. I do want to know whether she was a working girl or not. Not that there's any shame in that. It just might explain some of the circumstances to us. It might explain why she was there and some of the reasoning. Let's see. Let me try. I'm just trying to see if there's any sort of allegation that that's what she was doing or that's what she was up to. Disappearance. So apparently she was seen with him before she disappeared. So yeah, he was probably the last person, what we know now, to see her alive. But people did, uh, they did see them together. Hmm. There's a photo of Jill again. Yeah, I don't see anything that gives us that kind of picture. Let's see. Yeah, police allege that Kloppenberg and Sullivan knew each other and that Kloppenberg had been inside his home. The pair had allegedly been seen together not too long before her disappearance. But yeah, nothing about what she did at the time. But look, they could have just been friends. He could have been pretending to like help her out, that type of thing. Let's see. Yeah, what a sad case. Not that I know of, but you saw in court that she had some friends that were helping her. Let me yeah, I don't see anything that sort of indicates that's what she did. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, nothing like that. But, apparently here's his I'll get his photo up in a second. Yeah, nothing that indicates why she would have been at his home either. Let's see. They're saying according to prosecutors, Sullivan accidentally shot Kloppenberg when he was showing her a gun in his bedroom. After a few days, he allegedly buried her under the garage floor. Why is it always when someone is randomly showing someone a firearm? The defendant said he was with Jill and holding a firearm while falling asleep. At some point, he made a jerking motion which caused him to pull the trigger, discharging a firearm and shooting Jill in the chest. He stated that Jill soon died, and if there was a chance for her survival, he would have called for help. Instead, the defendant kept Jill's body in his room for a couple of days. He then brought Jill's body to the garage where he dug a hole, placed her body in the hole, then filled the hole. Terrible. I don't know. I just don't believe his story at all. I just why were you falling asleep? And what did her being in your home, like, why was she in your home? Kathy said if it was actually an accident, how much time could he get? Like, he could be under 10 years. Under 10 years for manslaughter in MA. Here. I think it'd be under 10 years. Yeah, 5 to 15 years, and it would be considered a second-degree felony. So, yeah, I mean, there can be up to 30 years, but it has to have an aggravating circumstance, something like a sex crime during the offense or something like that. So yeah, it would be he'd probably be under 10 years. It would probably be called recklessness slash negligent homicide if the DA believes his story, which I don't believe they do. Hold on, what charge did he get charged with? No, he's been charged with murder. So they don't believe his story. So if they believed his story, he would have been charged with involuntary manslaughter, something like that, to say it was an accident that was outside of his control. No, he's been charged with murder. So that means they believe it was a deliberate action to end her life. So yeah, that says authorities don't believe him at all, which is good because I don't believe his story either, and I don't think anyone else does. I don't think you guys do. His story just sounds absolutely ridiculous. Let's go here. By the way, this is him in court. There's that photo. Doesn't look that remorseful for taking a woman's life. Let's see. And I like this line from him too. If he thought that there was a chance of survival, he would have called for help. How do you know? Are you a doctor? Do you know what is survival and what isn't? If they go to trial and if he doesn't plead guilty, that'll be a major point at trial because of his own words saying that if there was a chance of survival, he would have called for help. He is going to get torn to shreds on that sentence because they're going to ask, how do you know? How do you know what is survivable and what isn't? How do you know what a doctor can do and what they can't? Because sometimes people can look like they're dead, and doctors can like zap them and bring them back. And how would you know? How would you know she was dead? And that'll be a big thing that they'll go through. Marlene said, "Accident, call 911." Exactly. Like the children in the car, the teenagers that killed the car. Patricia said, "Good night, all." Good night, Patricia. Have a good sleep. Let's see. All right. Marlene said, You didn't see a meteor." Okay, I hope you didn't see a meteor. So he's going to be in court. When is he going to be back in? No, that was today. Wait, he was in court. What day is it in America? 17th, right? He was in court today for a probable cause hearing. Huh. I don't see an update unless it got moved. Sometimes these things get moved, especially early on. He's being held without bail, though, but I don't see a probable cause court hearing for today. Yeah, I don't see that at all. I'm not sure what that means, but CBS in Boston are saying that they were at
Sullivan's been appointed to represent you on these matters, okay? All right, Attorney Mahoney?
Yes.
Okay, Attorney Mahoney?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth would ask that you hold the defendant pursuant to 265, Section 1 without bail.
Okay.
I do have a statement of facts if Your Honor would.
Sure.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth alleges that beginning in February of 2026, Mr. Sean Sullivan, the defendant before you, told a friend that he had killed someone. He indicated that he had accidentally shot and killed a girl he knew as Jill in February of 2025. The defendant said that the shooting had occurred in his bedroom, and after a day or two, he moved Jill's body into the garage of his home. There, he dug a hole in the floor of the garage and put the victim's body in the hole and sealed it up. The defendant's friend reported this information that he had heard from Mr. Sullivan to Nashua Police. Nashua Police then located information that Tewksbury Police were investigating the report of a missing person named Jill Kloppenberg, who had been reported missing since around the time of January of 2025 and last seen in Lowell around that time. Tewksbury detectives interviewed the friend who reported that Sean Sullivan, who lives in Tingsboro, told him that he took a life, that he accidentally killed someone and he accidentally shot somebody, and that it was a female named Joe. The defendant said that he was with Jill and holding a firearm while falling asleep. At some point, he made a jerking motion, which caused him to pull the trigger, discharging the firearm and shooting Jill in the chest. He stated that Jill soon died, and if there was a chance for her survival, he would have called for help. Instead, the defendant kept Jill's body in his room for a couple of days. He then brought Jill's body to the garage, where he dug a hole in the concrete, placed her body in the hole, and then filled the hole, covering the garage floor with concrete and epoxy. On March 11th of 2026, police spoke to the defendant, who stated that he did know Jill Kloppenberg, and the last time he saw her was in January of 2025.
Wait, they actually picked up on him a year ago. If you listen to that last bit, they actually visited him because he was known to be the last person to be with her. So the cops have been sort of on this for a while. I guess they didn't have a body, so they didn't know like where she might have gone. And because they had nothing tying him to a murder at all, like she could have left, she could have disappeared. Um, they could probably not get a search warrant for his home. It was that conversation that so when the cops probably found out about that conversation, they were then able to put 2 and 2 together and be like, "It was that guy. Now we can go into his home with a search warrant and look for her." So, it just seems like the cops knew who most likely did it for over a year, but had nothing to tie him to her death. And now, finally, after his own dumb words, congratulations, another dumb criminal. How it feels like most of these criminals dob on themselves, that they just tell on this on themselves eventually. So that is very interesting.
At that time, Jill had visited him at his home. Later that evening, the defendant stated he drove Jill home to her apartment in Lowell, and that was the last time he saw her. The defendant indicated that he knew Jill had been reported missing because of several of her friends had come to his house looking for her and provided him with a pamphlet. On March 13th of 2026, Tingsboro, Tewksbury, and Massachusetts State Police executed a search warrant in the garage of the defendant's home. After clearing the garage floor, police observed a large patched area, approximately 3 foot by 5 foot. The area was scanned with ground penetrating radar and revealed an anomaly in that area. That area of the ground was then excavated. During the excavation, the defendant had a second conversation with the police. At that time, he admitted to removing one of his firearms from his safe and showing it to Jill when he was over his home. While holding the firearm, he then twitched, discharging the firearm and shooting Jill in the chest. Jill spoke briefly and then collapsed. He checked for a pulse and determined that she was dead. When the area of the ground was excavated, a large wrapped object was located and was transported to the office of the chief medical examiner, where that object was x-rayed. The contents of the plastic bags, the contents of the plastic bags were x-rayed and confirmed that it did contain a human body. The medical examiner has since positively identified the body through dental records as Jill Kloppenberg. Preliminary examination appears that she suffered a through and through wound with an apparent entry wound to her chest and an exit wound to her back.
I reckon it's possible they're going to be able to figure him out due to angles. So they're probably going to ask him to walk through his own home and explain to them how they're going to be like, okay, buddy, you think this was an accident. We believe you. We believe you. We can get these charges dropped. We can do it. We know the DA. We're friends with them. We can help you out. But first, what we need you to do, we need you to tell us and show us what happened that night. So you sit down, show us exactly where she was, where you were, and then you tell us how you shot her through the chest while you were sleeping. And I reckon that is going to be his undoing because it probably will show that they were standing up at the time. I just have a funny feeling that is probably what's going to do it. They're going to be able to undo his story that way. So I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. They probably will in the future. They'll ask him for a walkthrough of his property, and he's going to have to explain it because if it ends up being that the trajectory of the bullets don't match what he says, if the wounds on her body don't match the direction and the angle that he's talking about, it'll be a good way of countering anything that is an accidental death. Kelly said, I'm going to assume there was alcohol or substances involved in this story is even remotely maybe true. Yeah, there would have to be some sort of, for his story to be even 5% true, there'd have to be some sort of heroin or something involved. Um, because they may have got high together and then he fell asleep. But like, why did he have the gun? Let's see. I wish we had a little more background on her. Yeah, let's see. Okay. According to her uncle, she did struggle with drug addiction, which made her vulnerable and influenced her associations. I would not be surprised if there was some sex work as well. A lot of people who have an addiction will fund their addiction via sex work. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's why she was there, either to get drugs or to make money to get drugs. That could be it too. Let's see. I want to know whether her I want to see if we can find out where her uncle talked. Yeah, her uncle Stephen wrote on Facebook that cops notified him Sunday evening about finding the remains. He said his niece had a drug addiction problem and had the propensity to associate with violent men. And they said, though we were not particularly close, I find myself walking around with watery eyes on the edge of tears for her loss, for what could have been. And he says, there will be resolution. So there you go. I don't have too much more yet, but we'll probably get it in due time. What a awful individual that guy is. Let's see. How long did he leave her there? This happened in January of 2025. So and then he left her for a few days and then buried her. So sometime in January of 2025 she was buried underneath that property, which is awful. Hey Andrew, how's it going? Is he wearing flannel? Yeah, he doesn't seem to be in jail clothes. He's probably being held at the county jail. The reason for this is because they only take your clothes if you are arrested when you have committed a crime. That crime occurred over a year ago. There's no point in taking his clothing, not right now anyway, because there's no evidence on it. There's no evidence because it happened a year ago. So they normally only do that if they get someone very close to when they committed the crime, so they can do forensics and things like that. He will get changed into a prison jumpsuit, but at some point he's probably in the county jail, like at the police station, not at the downtown. Kathy said, "Did he have a criminal record?" We can have a look. I don't. Yeah, we can have a look. Hold on. Hold on. All right. Um. Huh. Interesting. According to this, Sullivan reportedly studied criminal justice with the intent of becoming a police officer. A person who knew him stated that Sullivan struggled with addiction, which made his goal of entering law enforcement untenable. So his drug addiction took over his life. So they were both drug addicts. Um, ah. Prosecutors allege that Sullivan admitted to replacing bloodstained carpet in his room and destroying a camera and SD card that had that had recorded the incident. I wonder I wonder if there's a way for them to get that camera and SD card. Just because he may have deleted it or whatever, doesn't mean it's not there. I wonder if they could find that footage from him of him shooting her, because that would help with the story. Might be able to disprove his attempts at saying it was accidental. But what an awful individual! What an awful guy. Let me see. No, that's not what we want. I have far too many links open. I'm just trying to see if there's. That's a good point. The fact that that friend went to the police and dobbed him in, that person has a conscience. And the fact that's what we always ask, right? There's someone out there that knows. There's someone out there who can help. There's someone out there who has that one piece of information to solve a crime. And the friend did. The friend heard the conversation and then went and gave it to the authorities. That's what we ask, right? That's what we ask people to do. So that person, well done to them for coming forward and doing that. Must have been very hard to, basically dob on your friend, have them arrested for murder, and be the one that cracked this wide open. It's not an easy thing to do. So, well done to them. Let me see. I want to see if we can find out. Yeah, that one. Ah, okay. We have some more background. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's anything here. So apparently, when she was at the shelter, she knew people, and they're saying that each day that she styled her hair and applied her makeup perfectly, and said that Jill was the only bright spot in the shelter. It wasn't just outside, it was inside too. Apparently, the friend says that she had originally graduated from Empire Beauty School and trained to work in the construction industry. Um, the friend says she left the shelter after 2 weeks and kept in touch with Jill via Facebook. For a time, she said Jill's Facebook indicated she was living in New Hampshire with a boyfriend. When that relationship ended, there were signs that Kloppenberg was struggling with sobriety. And in one post, Kloppenberg said she was looking for a ride to a clinic. And they're saying here substance abuse made her vulnerable. She was struggling with maintaining her sobriety. She wasn't an addict. Kloppenberg sometimes turned to Facebook to share her struggles to stay sober, and she said that in a post on Facebook, today I've been 9 months sober. It hasn't been easy. I have so many regrets, and there are so many things I wish I could go back in time and make right. So there you go. There's a little more background about her and her friend. They're saying here that the women from the shelter were the ones who actually filed the missing person report to report her missing. And if it wasn't for them, no one would have reported her missing. That's very sad. Very sad. Huh? Okay, here. Here's some more information. During his police interview, Sullivan said he accidentally shot Kloppenberg in January of last year as they consumed alcohol and cocaine in his second floor bedroom. Sullivan said he had been awake for several days and believed he either fell asleep or nodded off while holding a revolver that Kloppenberg had asked to see. He stated that he twitched and pulled the trigger, striking Jill in the chest. Mortally wounded, Kloppenberg said, "Oh my God, you shot me. I'm going to die. I love you." Really? Okay. Sullivan said his grandfather, who has since died, was at home at the time of the shooting, but was frail and likely didn't know what happened, the report said. His parents were in Maine at the time. He kept Kloppenberg's body in the bedroom for a couple of days and then buried her in the garage. I don't believe this at all. Do you believe this? It sounds like a fairy tale. This bit. Here, I'll put it up on the screen. This sentence. That apparently after he shot her, she said, "Oh my God, you shot me. I'm going to die. I love you." I don't think so. It sounds like a fantasy made up. My my thinking is that he probably thought that she was taking drugs from him when he was asleep. And the reason he had the gun was because he didn't trust her around the drug supply. And that he woke up, thought that she had been pinching drugs off him, and then shot her as like because he was mad that she'd been taking his drugs while asleep. I bet you that is actually what happened, not what he is saying. Um, the thing about why he had the gun doesn't make any sense. I can't imagine a woman asking to see a firearm when they've all been high and up for a number of days. I can't imagine that. Her family also says for the most part she had been sober as well, so she may have relapsed, but I can't imagine her hanging out there for days on end. Uh, Amy said, "With my last breath, I say, you're totally cool and I don't blame you. Hugs and kisses." I know, right? It comes across as a fairy tale. That doesn't sound right at all. Oh my God. I believe the oh my God, you shot me. I don't know about the "I'm going to die, I love you" bit. The first bit I believe is true. The second bit I think is made up. But yeah, my theory is what I said. I think he was holding a firearm to her because he thought she would pinch the drugs if he fell asleep. And I just, drug users are very paranoid, and they're paranoid that people are taking their drugs. Yeah. Who's messaging me? All right. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Marlene said, "My spider senses are tingling lies." Yeah, definitely sounds like lies to me too. We'll have to see what happens. The authorities don't believe him either. That's why he's been charged with first degree murder. Yeah, he is not believed. They do not believe him. What an awful individual, and what a very sad ending to her life. It really is. It's an awful ending to her life. Okay. All right. You know, Boston has also had another very similar case been resolved recently, yesterday, actually today. There was a murder case of a pregnant 16-year-old girl, and it happened like 5, 6 years ago. And it had a guy charged in it today too. So it's been a very good time for Boston to have cases solved. This one's a little bit different. Hold on. Sorry, this one's out of California. I don't know why I thought it was Boston. Anyway, the USA has had a good day with cold cases being solved. I want to take you out to it. If I can find my link for it. Hold on. Yeah, her name is Victoria Marquina. I'm probably pronouncing that totally wrong, as I always do. But apparently she vanished a number of years ago, and now they've charged a guy. Hold on. Hopefully it'll play.
Victoria Marquina's journey for justice.
It's been over 6 years since Victoria Marquina was last seen. Investigators say the 16-year-old was pregnant when her mother reported her missing at Sutter Creek in October of 2019, after what investigators describe as a short relationship with Joshua Martinez, who was 21 at the time.
Calling the matter of Joshua Anthony Martinez.
Martinez was indicted and arrested by U.S. Marshals on 4 felony counts, including murder.
Martinez faces a maximum sentence of life in prison.
The San Joaquin County District Attorney working with multiple agencies as part of a cold case task force.
And to the family members of cold case victims, we will never stop in the pursuit of justice.
After 6 years with no charges, we asked investigators what changed. Was there any new evidence?
That's a very good question, and we aren't going to get into the specifics at this time. So much of this is just dogged tirelessness of our investigation, dotting every I, crossing every T.
But tonight, investigators still need the public's help. Although a suspect's been charged in her murder, Victoria Marquina's body still has not been found.
We want to bring closure to Victoria's mother and allow her to bury her child and her grandchild.
In Stockton, Cecil Hannibal, KCRA 3 News.
The family's prayers have been answered after the arrests in a case involving a 16-year-old girl who went missing nearly 6 years ago.
Yeah, today the San Joaquin County DA's office revealed Joshua Martinez is facing multiple charges, including murder for the death of Amador teen Victoria Marquina. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias is live tonight at the San Joaquin County Superior Court.
And Roxanne, we've been following this for a while. What are you learning today?
Well, Laura and Chris, just a few minutes ago, Victoria Marquina's mother, Blanca Valencia, actually gave me a call after initially declining to comment earlier today in the courtroom. She sat there quietly. You could tell this is emotionally draining for her. But when I spoke to her on the phone today, she says she's happy to see someone here in the court case. And she says through all of these years, the only thing she's ever wanted was for her daughter to be returned so she could bury her and find justice for her.
Today marks the beginning of Victoria Marquina's journey for justice.
A picture of Victoria Marquina set front and center for everyone to see at the San Joaquin County Superior Court on Monday.
Today we have an important announcement.
District Attorney Ron Fridas announcing a big break in the disappearance of the 16-year-old.
On October 10th, Victoria was reported missing by her mother in Sutter Creek. Victoria was pregnant at the time she was reported missing.
The DA's office says Marquina was last seen alive the day before in 2019 near her place of work in Amador County. Then on October 12th, her car was found abandoned near Escalon in San Joaquin County.
That leads us to today. Today, I am announcing that my office, along with the Amador District Attorney's Office, indicted Joshua Martinez before a San Joaquin County grand jury earlier this month.
About 30 minutes before the DA's office spoke Monday, Martinez, dressed in an orange jumpsuit, made his first court appearance, where a judge granted a continuance for his arraignment until April 6th.
So we'll have to wait till April 6th, but how sad. Very, very sad for, 16 years old and pregnant. Both of them killed, and they still don't quite know where she is. Like, they know who killed her, but they don't know where her body might be. Hopefully, him being arrested, maybe some people will not be afraid anymore, and they'll be able to come forward and give the authorities more information about where she might be. Let me see what else we have on her. 16 years old, man. It's very sad. KCRA normally has it. Here's a photo. I'll put a photo up of her. She seems like a nice girl. There's her photo. And let's see what else we can find out about her. So he was already a suspect in the past, but he's been indicted for her 2019 death. So apparently they had just met a month before her disappearance and she became pregnant. It was a whirlwind, very fast relationship and very short. So this girl had only known him for a month. Officials have not specified if new evidence led to his 2026 indictment. They said Victoria is dead. We are looking for her remains and the remains of her unborn child. And they're saying we need closure for the family. So anyone having that information of where her remains are, we are asking for them to come forward. Martinez has been charged and he faces life in prison. He's scheduled to appear on April 6th. Victoria would have been 25 years old if she was alive today. So, she's unfortunately been gone a long time, since just before the pandemic. Just before the pandemic. He looks like Ricard Ramirez a little bit. Kim says, I really hope someone knows for her mother. Yeah. I mean, it's a long time. You would have thought, what's weird? I always go, you would have thought the body would have, turned up. But you remember that was that case where the guy killed his wife and then the two grandparents in California? They found the wife in the home, but they never found the grandparents. They've never found their bodies or the car. So somewhere around California, there's a car with two elderly people in it, and like they've never found it. How do you hide a car with two elderly people in it? Like, where would you take it? I'm so confused about that. Yeah, man. Yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah, Samuel Haskell. Um, yeah, he died in custody. What a sook he is. Um, yeah, the grandparents. They never found them, right? Let's see. I don't think they ever found the grandparents. I'm just having a look here. Yeah, I don't think they're saying they only found the wife's remains, but never found the grandparents. So somewhere out there's a car with two dead people in it. Where they might be, don't know. And they've been missing for over a year now. Over a year. And so, yeah, somewhere in California, there's a very shocking surprise out there for someone. Richard Ramirez. Kathy said the car will be in a body of water. He could have just driven it off a thing. That is true. Hold on, guys. Okay. In a junkyard, he didn't have very long. If you remember that story, he moved the boxes to the front of the house and asked a company to get rid of them. The company thought something was wrong and left. They basically gave the boxes back and left. So, hey Texas, how are you? You about to get some sleep? All right. Have a good night. Okay. I wish I had some more updates about Australian cases for you, but right now we're sort of in a funny waiting period. There's 2 cases that we'll work on this year, but both of them are in pre-trial and both of them can't be reported on. And it's very annoying, but eventually we'll be able to do a lot of work on them. But right now it's all sort of attend hearings, hear information, can't tell you about it. And it's frustrating because I'd love to be able to tell you what's going on. But we're just going to have to wait. We're just going to have to wait until a bit later this year. Hey Emma, good to you just got up. You just got up in Europe. I hope you're going to have a good day out there, my friend. All right. You know, the other option, someone messaged me and said, "Why don't I come on during the day in America?" And I'm saying it's because it's during the night here, but I'm interested. I might do it if people want me to come on during the daytime hours in America. I will, because it seems like people have started to just not stay up for the late show anymore. They're just like, "Oh, I don't want to do it anymore," even though we used to. So maybe I'm going to come on during the daytime in America, like in the morning, like around 11 a.m., and we'll follow cases in America during the day. Maybe we will do that. Kathy said, anything new on Gus? No, nothing new on Gus right now. Nah, there's nothing really. I mean, there was some evidence that was seized, but we already told you about that. But other than that, there's really nothing going on with that particular case. Nothing really going on with Trisha Graff at this point in time either. I don't have any new information on Trisha Graff at this point in time. Maybe in the future, but right now I don't have anything new. Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't have anything new for you at this point in time on those two. When I do, I will let you know. As soon as I do, I'll let you know, but right now, nothing. How about Chris Killers? Chris Killers. Might have to be more specific. Chris Killers? Emma said, when there is murder, is mutilation a common thing in Australia? I don't think so. Mutilation murders seem to be more common in America than they are here. Like they do happen, they're just not super common. They seem to be more prevalent in America, but that could be because of the population density. There's a lot more people, so the chances of these type of things happening with a population of like, what is it, like 300 million is probably more likely. As we're here, it's not really a common thing. Kidnapper killer. Chris Bagzarian. There's nothing really. There was something a few hours ago. There was some CCTV images released. I can show them to you if you give me a second. They're hunting 3 men. Here, I'll take you to the story. This is the only update recently.
Police have released new security video of 3 men wanted for questioning over the kidnapping and murder of Sydney grandfather Chris Bagzarian. 2 people have already been arrested, but police believe many more were involved. Andrew Denny reports.
Well, it's now been almost 5 weeks since an innocent man, 85-year-old Chris Bagzarian, was kidnapped, tortured and held for ransom, only to then be murdered when his kidnappers allegedly police have released person. Now, police have released new images of 3 people they're working to track down. This is security video taken here on Wildthorn Avenue at Dural. It shows 3 men walking towards the kidnappers' stronghold inside an abandoned house the night the victim was being held there. Today, asking for anyone who might have information on them to speak up. They're also working to track down this blue Hyundai sedan that was seen driving into and leaving the street the following day, notably missing a hubcap.
I think there's not a person in this country, in fact, that is not, been touched by this story in a terrible way. If anybody knows anything, please report it to police.
2 men have already been charged and refused bail over the alleged murder, which is believed to have been a case of mistaken identity. But detectives have made it clear they believe others were involved both here and overseas.
Every person who was involved in this atrocious kidnapping, this terrible crime, we want to make sure they're behind bars.
So these are the other ones they're looking for. This is on that abandoned home. That's that home in Dural, the one they ended up raiding, but he wasn't there at the time. He had already been moved to his final resting spot, and they're looking for these 3. So they believe there was multiple people involved, up to 5 or 6 people, possibly more. Like they said, overseas. They believe there might be an overseas gangland connection going on. Someone from overseas may have ordered the kidnapping, is what they're saying. But these 3, the footage is not very good. Let me see if I can get you some better CCTV. There's another copy. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, let me get this up on the screen. So this is the full video. New South Wales. Yeah, I'm actually going to go to the New South Wales Police YouTube. See if they've got the full copy. No, they don't. That's weird. Okay. All right, let's have a look. Maybe this one. So that's worse than the other one. That's all right. We'll just use the other one. So there's them walking down the street, front gate, with a torch on their phone. Looks like their phone. How nobody saw this at the time, I will never know. And there's that vehicle that they're looking for. Yeah, we'll play it again. So it's strange. It's a shame they didn't get this until later. They got this so far, like after the events that happened. They may have had it during the actual police operation, but chose not to give it out. I don't know. The footage is not great. Hopefully someone knows who it is, but I wouldn't say the footage is terribly amazing quality. Why they're walking down the road with a phone with a torch on it. And you have to ask the question, how far away did they park to have to walk all the way down that road? And yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's the only sort of update for Chris Bagzarian. They're looking for that blue car, and they're looking for the 3 people in that. Other than that, the 2 others, they're in custody, and they will go to trial later on. Kathy said, just strolling along like they're out for a walk. Out for a walk after kidnapping someone. Sean said, homes are 25 to 40 meters away from the road. Yeah, they're pretty far away on this one. Emma said, do you have problems with drugs? How is the drug convictions? Do you have harsh sentencing around drugs? I would say that we have pretty soft sentencing around drugs. Even high-level drug offenses may only get you 5 years in prison. People that have moved millions of dollars of drugs have been sentenced to very short prison sentences. I think like any like any first world country, we have had, our fair share of drug issues in the community. Where were the cameras? It looks like they're on a home. See how like they've got these bollards around the edge of this home? They're on top of one of the bollards. This house looks like the one next door to the one where they were actually keeping him in the property. So, Woman of Steel said that looks like 2 girls, 1 guy. 2 girls, 1 cup. Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know. I think it's hard to tell. Could be. It might be 2 girls. Ping suspects that they're all men. I suspect that they're probably, and the thing here says CCTV released of 3 men. So I don't think the cops believe that it is a female at all. Sean said people there have automatic gates and a camera to see who's at the gate. Yeah, it's very, very pricey suburbs. Please explain a bollard. A bollard is like this, kind of like this. Wait, hold on. The ones that you would have seen before would look like this. When you go to a public area or a event to stop cars going through, but that's what I just said, like, is on the gate. So, no, you can get it. You can get it legally through medical, but it's pretty easy to get. You could just get a online consultation with a medical provider, and you'll have a script for your marijuana in the afternoon. Takes like an hour, and it costs like $40, and you can get a script and be you can have your legal marijuana delivered via the post the next day. So it's pretty common here now. Most people that want it have got it, and the restrictions around it aren't as severe as it used to be about 10 years ago. It used to be very hard to get, and you had to find a doctor that was willing, and now you just do it online, and you just fill out a form, tell them what you need it for, and they'll recommend you a dosage, and then you can go from there. You try the dosage that they suggest or the product that they tell you. If that doesn't work, you can go back and ask them to have another look at it and blah, blah, blah. And away you go. Away you go into the world of legal marijuana. So it is here now. It's not like the USA, but it's not as bad as it used to be a few years ago. So there is some legalization here. All right. Hey, Sean, do you know Sean is the last 2 donations to this channel over the last 36 hours? I appreciate it, Sean. Would be nice if some other people helped out instead of just Sean all the time. Kathy said, are people allowed to drive and smoke? No, you are not. You will get done. It'll get taken before a court, and depending on the magistrate, you'll either be convicted or they'll throw it out. Both have happened. There's sort of a legal gray spot with people who have a legalized marijuana script, and then people being busted driving when they have a legal script for it. The law says that you can't be impaired. Doesn't say that you can't drive while having it in your system. It says you have to be impaired. A lot of people who smoke quite regularly are not impaired to drive. So it's sort of like a weird legal gray area. They're trying to sort of figure it out, but it's not doing very well. Not doing very well. All right, I should get out of here. I don't want to talk around in circles. All right, I will be back tomorrow. We'll keep reviewing stuff with the channel. We're looking at different times. We're looking at getting rid of the late show and maybe picking a new time slot, which might be during the day in America. You know, it used to be that the late show was the big pull and everyone really liked it late at night. Seems like everyone's become risk adverse to staying up late. So we may have to come on a lot earlier. So we may look at coming on in the daytime in the USA. All right. I will see you tomorrow. It might be during the day. We'll see. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.